Are you a Raphael who gets things done? Or are you a Leonardo who starts project after project and never finishes anything? At one point, Raphael was getting paid a fortune to paint giant frescoes in the Pope's apartment in the Vatican. Meanwhile, Leonardo was across the courtyard in a room he was lent in the Belvedere Palace, blowing up cow guts and dressing up a lizard as a dragon. Unfortunately, Leonardo was a notorious procrastinator. The Pope had tried to hire him to paint something, but ended up exclaiming in frustration that he's never going to do anything, which is too bad because the frescoes Raphael was painting would have been the perfect gig for Leonardo. Raphael was making bank essentially as a more reliable Leonardo, and that Raphael was so much better at follow-through than Leonardo has less to do with discipline and more to do with what problems he was attracted to. Raphael's paintings used to look stiff and one-dimensional. This guy breaking a stick is supposed to look frustrated, but then Raphael came to Florence. While he was there, he witnessed a painting face-off between Leonardo and Michelangelo. Suddenly his paintings got more realistic. This one in particular shows how heavily Raphael was influenced by Leonardo. Leonardo was able to paint so realistically because he deeply understood the way the world worked. He developed a theory of so-called pyramids of light that scattered off every point on every surface on every object. One of his biographers has compared it to modern-day ray tracing software like Pixar uses to render animation. Because he understood the way light worked, Leonardo made groundbreaking observations about the dark side of the moon. People couldn't figure out why the dark side of the moon still had light area. Leonardo correctly theorized that light from the sun reflected off the earth, thus making the dark side of the moon not so dark. You can see a similar phenomenon at work in Leonardo's Mona Lisa. Notice how the underside of her chin isn't completely dark. That's because light is reflecting off her shoulders and chest, illuminating the shadow. This is from Raphael's first recorded commission. Notice it's pretty basic use of light. The shadows are just darker. There's no indication of light reflecting into the shadow. Look at this painting again from after Raphael came to Florence. You'll notice a lot of reflected light in the shadows, such as on the underside of her chin. This tells us a lot about why Leonardo struggled to finish projects while Raphael could reliably crank out finished paintings. For Leonardo, a painting was a byproduct of much deeper exploration. For Raphael, a painting was a process of applying well-established methods. An anatomy study of Raphael looks like this, showing us what do the muscles look like on the surface. An anatomy study by Leonardo looks like this. What do the muscles underneath the surface look like? Where are the tendons? Which muscles connect to which nerves to express which emotion? Some artists have a conceptual style. They execute a concept. As such, they are successful very early in their careers. Other artists have an experimental style. They spend their whole careers striving towards some vague goal. As such, they do their best work later in their careers. When Raphael was painting giant frescoes and Leonardo was across the courtyard, Raphael was about 30, Leonardo was about 60. Raphael had already done his most notable work, the School of Athens. Leonardo was still tweaking the Mona Lisa. He apparently never felt he had finished it. Raphael was executing on concepts that had been hard-won by Leonardo through his observations of nature. In fact, part of the decline in Raphael's popularity was due to a movement in the 1800s that advocated abandoning the formulaic approach based upon Raphael taught in the art academies across Europe and towards observations of nature, the kinds that Leonardo made. That movement was called the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. So if you can't figure out why some creators finish one project after another while you can't seem to finish anything, it may have less to do with discipline and more to do with the nature of the problems that you are attracted to. You may be a Leonardo instead of a Raphael.